Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, Swordsoul is back, and I am going to take another look at it with less than 60 cards. I think the last two times we've looked at Swordsoul in the metagame, we looked at it with 60 cards, and now with the addition of Bestials, I wanted to see how well it does at a more reasonable number of cards. Now, honestly, I have terrible luck with 60-card decks. I think that they are inconsistent, and for me, inconsistency is a big no-no, and I just am not lucky enough to play a 60-card deck and have it function for me. So I decided to play this 44-card deck, which is a little bit better, and a lot more consistent, which is so much nicer. So yeah, it's pretty simple here. It's Swordsoul, Tenyi, Bestial, with a lot smaller of a Bestial package, because I honestly noticed that the Bestials weren't all that great. Yes, Tier is pretty common, but it's not common enough to where I wanted the Bestials, and there were other ways that I could play around the Tier cards with things like Protoss and Vishada and stuff like that, so I really didn't feel like it was necessary to play that many Bestials. Let's quickly get to the card by card. Starting off with the Tenyis, we have ourselves the pretty standard list for Tenyis here, that being the triple Adhara, the triple Ashana, the double Vishada. That's basically it for the Tenyis, besides the one Shathana to come up as an Ashana target in case you have access to a token but don't have access to a non-tuner. You can then special summon it off of the Ashana and then go for the Shathana there. It's very nice, and so that's the plan with that. Next up, we have ourselves the Swordsouls. We're obviously playing triple Moye, double Taya, triple Ecclesia, and double Long One, along with, of course, the triple Emergence and the one Blackout. Again, pretty standard list there. We're only playing the one Blackout. You only need the one Blackout. Triple Emergence can also grab things like the Protoss, which is very nice. You can also add additional starters like the Moye. So it's basically copies 7, 8, and 9, because Ecclesia is 4, 5, and 6 of Moye, which is very nice. So all things considered, it's very good. And then, of course, we have one apiece of all of the Bestials. That's basically it. They are just the best ones. Now, why am I playing Saronir instead of a second Baldrake? Pretty simple. Saronir is a different name. These are all hard ones per turns. Saronir is a different name. If I draw two Bestials, I am guaranteed to not draw two of the same. And again, I am unlucky. I'm literally deck building around my own luck. So if you're luckier than me, if you're less likely to draw two of the exact same card, play two Baldrake. It's just better in every regard. However, I play the Saronir because I know that I'm going to draw two Baldrake and have them both offline. So yeah, instead we're playing the one apiece, so that no matter what, if I draw two Bestials, I'm going to have them both playable. And even if I draw all four, they're all going to be live on the same turn, which is very funny. So there's that. As for the rest of the cards, we have a whole bunch of non-engine pieces, that being triple Maxi, triple Ash Blossom, triple Infip, the double Called By, double Pot of Desires, which is absolutely necessary. This card is so valuable. Basically, every card in Swordsoul Tenyi is strong. Just about every single one. So Pot of Desires happens to be incredibly useful here for the ability to just draw an additional two cards. Drawing a Tenyi and a Swordsoul is absolutely amazing. Drawing a Called By or a Hand Trap or a Bestial or a Protoss or whatever you draw, it just almost always is going to be useful, besides the second Pot of Desires. That's like the only card that's more or less dead. But yeah, for the most part, like, everything is live and it's very nice to have. So there's that. And they're all very powerful to where each individual card is very strong. Plus, we can't really play Prosperity. It's just not really all that useful. It turns off things like Moye or the Qixing, so we're not doing that. Now, one thing I'm not playing is Triple Tack, which I did miss a few times, but Triple Tack honestly isn't as live in this deck as it is in quite a few others. And the simple reason for that is because while yes, you can get Maxied, oftentimes people aren't going to Ash Blossom you. They're not really going to activate a Bestial against you unless you have it like in a Shana line or something like that. So that's oftentimes off the table. And so for the most part, you're not really getting your activations of the Triple Tack, so it's more advantageous to just have the Pot of Desires. So that's why we're doing that. And then we have ourselves, of course, the 2 Heavenly Dragon Circle. Tribute a worm, add a worm, pretty simple. It's very nice. It's a quick play to dodge things like Imperm as well, which is very cool. And you could, you know, if you go Moye, activate the effect, they go Imperm, you get to go Tribute off the Moye, and then grab a Shana to guarantee that you grab up that Shithana to then go for that 8 as if nothing happened. It's great. And then, as for the last cards, we're playing 2 Protoss. Now, normally I was previously I was playing 3. Protoss is very, very good. I would suggest at least playing 2. It's very strong at 2 as well. That means that you're less likely to banish both of them off of a Protoss, so you're still off of a Pot of Desires, so you're guaranteed to at least get 1. And it just kind of auto wins against Tier. It's very good against Spright. It's very good against Branded. Like, there are a lot of reasons to just play Protoss and Call Dark. As for the extra deck, it's pretty simple as well. The 1 Yazi, double Baxia, the 1 Draco, Berserker of the Tenyi, 1 Dragite, double Chi Shao, the 1 Xiaofeng, the 1 Baron, the 1 Chengying, the most summoned level 10, genuinely, the 1 Qixing, double Monk, 1 Shaman, and of course, 1 Dark. This one could be literally anything else. You could play the 2nd Yazi, you could play a Ruddy Rose if you wanted to. You could play another 8. You could play a 3rd Monk or something like that. I don't know. This is just anything. I just happened to choose Dark. This could be Wallow as well if you wanted to play more Bystials, if you found that Bystials were more important. So there's that. But yeah, let's hop into the duels and show you how this deck performs. Alright, so here we are going first, and hey, that's a pretty decent hand. It's full combo with Ash Blossom to destroy the Maxi. It's technically 3 hand traps in full combo, which is very nice. Dear Lanta, has that usage rate gone up? It's now at 87.8. I think previously it was like 86. Huh? Anyway, out comes the Moye. We're going to activate the effect of the Moye, reveal the Adhara, and and grab our token. We're going to go for the Chi Shao here. Chainlink 1 Chi Shao, Chainlink 2 Moye. If my girl and Moye were both drowning, we're going to grab up that long one here and draw into the 2nd Adhara, which is very funny. We're then going to go for the 10 here, and out comes the Changing. I'm going to activate the long one here and burn for 12 and pass. Now, the reason I go for the Changing, pretty simple. We have Druid Swarm. We activate the Druid Swarm, this triggers the Changing. Changing now has the ability to banish without being reliant on Chi Shao, which is very nice. Now, we might also do it with the Chi Shao anyway, but hey, it's another option. And then, of course, we have the Imperm as an additional interaction. My opponent's going to go for the Snow here, and I'm like, no, not happening. I do actually decide to banish here because I'm not having Snow. That's just not happening. Goodbye, Snow. You will be missed, except you won't. They're going to go for the triple attack and take my monster, and I'm like, that's fine, I guess. Out comes Shirin. Whoa. They go and hit just about everything that they needed to. If they had only hit that Merly there, it's very simple. We activate the Druid Swarm, we banish the Merly, the game is over, and we now just proceed to the end of the game. But of course they hit the Kelbeck because why would they not? So they're gonna go and mill a whole bunch, or activate their effects, grab up a whole bunch of cards, mill a whole bunch more, and guess what? They also hit the 2nd Agito. Agito! Oh, I'm so glad. Anyway, they also hit Scream, which is very interesting. They're going to go for the Kick Hollows here. They're going to activate the effect of the Kick Hollows, activate the effect of the Agito, activate the effect of the Scream, and I'm going to activate the effect of my Imperm, negating their Kick Hollows. They're going to grab up, I believe it was a Soliak off of that, and then link off into Dark. Dang it. Okay. They're going to try and grab my Vashada. I'm going to say, no, none of that. That's just not allowed. And then they're going to pass. I am unsure as to what had happened, but 2 Merleys. They milled 2 Merleys. That was what happened. They milled 2 Merleys. Cool. They'd already used that one. Anyway, we draw Emergence because I'm just the better player. I'm going to go and normal summon the Adhara, link off into Monk. Monk will then allow me to go and activate my Vashada that is in the graveyard and bounce their set card. Now we can go and activate the effect of my the quick play to grab up the Ashana here. Then we can activate the Ashana in the grave in order to grab up that Adhara. This then allows me to go and activate the Adhara to grab up Moye. Now, notably, we did normal summon, but Moye is additional follow-up. And now we can go for the Yang Zing here. Or we can go for the Yazi here. We do happen to activate the Druid Swarm effect here in order to send away that Dark. Now, we also know that they have Havness in hand, which is why I decided to start by bouncing my opponent's card to the hand, and why I decided to use the Druid Swarm to get rid of the Dark instead of something like the Yazi. Because if I activate anything, they just activate their Havness, and then we lose the game because they mill incredibly well. I'm going to activate my Emergence here. They realize that I can just grab long one, go for a rank 10, something like, I don't know, a Baron, and then just end the game off of that, and they decide to concede there. Good game. All right, here we are going second, and is that Cockroach? Trust, it's fine. So they're going to activate the effect of their kit. I'm going to activate Cockroach, and, or sorry, they don't activate the effect. They just normal summon kit, and yeah, the game is now over. Wow, Cockroach is such a cool card. It's fine. We're going to play through our own Cockroach. So we're going to go for the tie here, and then I'm going to activate the Emergence in order to grab up a card. Then I'm going to go and activate my Emergence to level modulate so that we can go for a Yangzing, or sorry, a Yazi here in particular. The reason I go for the Yazi is because I'm almost certain that this is an Imperm. Like, what else would it be? This is obviously Tri-Spright, or even just Tri-Brigade, in which case, if it is just Tri-Brigade, this could be a droplet, in which case maybe this Yazi is gonna get negated, which could cause more issues because it could go kits and Nerval grab a Karos or something like that, which is not good. But anyway, it's fine. It's an Imperm. I was right. We're gonna go for the Yazi here. They're going to negate that. And I'm like, interesting. Okay, how do I win this? We're gonna start off here with the Ashana. We're gonna activate the effect of the Ashana in order to, or sorry, link off into the Monk. We're then going to activate the long one to go for a 10. We're gonna go for the Tenyi here. We're gonna activate the effect in order to burn for 12. Now we can go for the Ashana here to grab up the Vishada, and then we can banish the opponent's cards. We banish the kit because it's dangerous, and my opponent now has a million cards. That's fine. We're just gonna OTK them here. It's okay, I promise. We're going to add back that Ashana here because it's funny, and then we're going to link off for the Shaman. We're going to activate the effect of the Shaman, pitching the Imperm to grab back that Yazi. Hey, guess what? That's lethal. Bingo! Maxi, such a cool card. Woo! What an interesting game. Okay. Alright, here we are once again going second, and this time we don't have the bug, so it's actually a game. Let's find out how well this goes. Well, they're going to start off with Shifter, and then normal summon Beaver, and then go for their Angler to grab up the Jet. Jet grabs Starter, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'm just holding this Imperm at this point. Like, it's not really going to do anything, realistically. They go for the Carrot here, that's totally fine. I'm like, yeah, you can go Gigantic Spright, that's totally fine. I'm just going to save this for whatever you inevitably end up summoning here. Out comes the Sprint, and I'm like, huh. That's not Elf. What is happening? So, the idea behind this board is, 1, flawed, but 2, the idea is, I have Sprint, therefore, if my opponent summons something, I detach off of Gigantic and activate the effect of the Sprint. However, why would we not just go Elf for target protection? You have Carrot, good. You have Caddy, good. Also, why did we even activate Shifter? If we had access to the full line, like, flawed execution, but it's fine. We drop out of Desires because of course we do. Of course we're going to start off by firing that, and it resolves. How very interesting. We're going to start off with this Emergence as well, grab up that long one, and now at this point the game is basically over. I'm going to negate the Caddy, which for some reason they decided not to activate the Carrot on. Like, Caddy is your one point of interaction. Why are we doing this? Anyway, I guess it's because they don't know what I'm on. So anyway, that's fine. We're going to go and summon out that Moye off of the Ecclesia that we special summoned. And now we can go for the Moye effect to grab up that token, to which they will then negate it. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. Anyway, modulate the level. Now, sorry, I went a little bit quickly there. I'm actually not modulating the level of my token to go for a Yazi. Instead, I modulate the token, or the level of my Adhara. I'm still under Shifter, which is a problem, because Yazi specifically says it's gotta go to the grave. When this card is destroyed by battle and card effect and sent to the grave. Well, guess what? We can't really do that, so Yazi is out of the question. Instead, we modulate the level of our Adhara, boosting it by 1, allowing it to now be a 2 for our level 6. Hey, guess what? That's a Boxia. Yep, we're going to activate the effect of the Boxia. We're going to spin back 2 of the opponent's cards, and then we can go for the Draco Berserker. The reason I go Draco Berserker, just, it hits the hardest. It's funny. Anyway, we're going to banish the opponent's monster, and then walk over the Sprint, and walk over the opponent's card, and then just pass. I could have also normal summoned Moye there. I believe I hadn't normal summoned at that point, and then gone Protoss called Dark and just kind of like hope that they don't really have anything. But I decided to go for the Draco Berserker. Again, I couldn't have gone for really much else. I guess I could have gone for a Chi Shao there as well. That could have been a play, and then just like banish Moye for a negate. But I think this was overall the best option that I had under Shifter. And of course they draw a Nimble Beaver off the top with Jet and do the exact same thing again, because that's what Spright does, and that's why we love it. They're going to go for the blue, grab up the red, then they're going to go for the Elf here, and I'm like, hey, that's totally fine. They're going to bring back the Nimble Angler, and then they go for it Gigantic, and I'm like, oh, this is the perfect time for me to activate my Berserker, because Either they have to just negate the effect, or they can negate and destroy and lose the effect of the Gigantic. Of course, they decide to just negate the effect, but hey, at the very least, I still have that Draco Berserker. They're going to go for the Frog here, and then go for Sky Centuria. Now, notably, this card is more or less useless. Why? Because it doesn't make Zeus here. That's like the one point of this card. It's not making Zeus because you're locked into 2s, thanks to not only Starter, but also Gigantic. They're going to spin back my Baxia, which is totally fine. I guess that's one of the reasons, but like, who cares? Baxia's not doing anything. Like, you have Elf on field, you can negate and destroy, like, it's really not that big of a deal. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. We can just go for the Ashana here. They're going to activate the effect to grab up their blue effect, grab the Carrot, which they're playing 2 of, and then we can go for the Monk off of our Ashana. Ashana is then going to activate its effect in order to grab up the Vashada. Vashada is going to be linked off for that second Monk, and then activate the effect of the Vashada. We're going to bounce the Gigantic here. I decided to bounce the Gigantic just because, like, Elf's not really doing anything either, so there's that. We're going to go for the Moye here, reveal the Protoss, and they will negate and destroy my Moye. Oh no. Anyway, Protoss called Dark. I have to actually call Dark here because that is the way to get lethal. If I call Fire, even though I know that they have the Carrot in hand and it deals with the red more effectively, I don't OTK. So yeah, we're just going to punch them for 13 and then 1,000 for lethal. Hey, Protoss didn't actually matter that game, right? Copium? Alright, we're back with the deck, and in all honesty, I think that this deck works much better for me, and honestly, I would say it's probably a better way to climb. The reason for this, it's more consistent. Consistency in a best of 1 is way more valuable than having higher highs. I think in a best of 3, it's a lot more likely that you are going to have at least 2 games where you're going to be able to play the game, and having those higher highs means that in those 2 playable games, you're probably able to take games more convincingly and not really lose games that you could or should win. Whereas in a best of 1, it's a lot more likely where you're just needing that consistent over time game plan, which I think this deck does a little bit more. Having less Bestials is noticeable, but honestly not that big of a deal. You still draw Bestials enough to where they are impactful and they are able to interact with opponents' decks pretty effectively. On top of that, this deck goes second beautifully. There isn't a single card that you don't need to answer from the opponent's perspective, which means that basically every card is a going second card, besides maybe like Adhara, I guess? But basically everything else is like a scary, threatening card. Oh, I guess Blackout, technically. But most of the other cards are things that your opponent has to have an answer for, or at the very least interact with in some regard, so that you aren't just immediately popping off and getting basically everything. And with the way that like chain blocking works and stuff like that, it means that, you know, a Shishao summoned off of Moye means that Baron isn't really going to do anything against that, right? So there's that. Lots of really cool things with this deck. I really do like it. Is 44 optimal? I don't know. It's hard to say. I think 45 is like where I would want it to be in terms of like the maximum amount of cards. I don't really know what else I would cut though. I think that there isn't a single card that I realistically think wasn't useful. Obviously, the Shithana is very situational, but when it does come up, it's very, very important that you have that. So cutting that is not really that good of an idea. You could maybe cut the one Adhara, but Adhara is also very important because due to the Bestials, you also have access to the Adhara off of the Bestials in order to then go for a level 7, that being Yazi, which is very nice. On top of that, as you saw, you could also level modulate it by banishing things like an Emergence in order to go for a 8 with Longwan, which comes up very rarely, but hey, it came up. And stuff like that. Definitely would play the 2 Protoss. I love Heavenly Dragon Circle. It's a very, very good card. Yeah, it's hard for me to really cut cards. Maybe cut Pot of Desires, maybe cut Heavenly Dragon Circle, play a clean 40. I'm not a big fan of that idea, but it's definitely something you could do. You could definitely play the second Yazi over Dark. I don't think Dark ever came up. There were, like, the only way it would come up is if the opponent has a Magnemite in grave and nothing else really to interact with. So you just go like Dark, steal their Magnemite. Now you can search a card on or a Bestial for your turn, and then just have like 2 big guys on your field. But honestly, that means that you probably don't have much else going on, which is not really worth it. Or you probably had access to a level 8 synchro, in which case, yeah, again, not really worth it to go dark. So that's it. That's all that I have to say. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you guys did indeed enjoy it. If you did, I like us very much, so appreciate it. And if you want to check out more content like this, as well as more Yu-Gi-Oh, then just be sure to subscribe. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye. Shout out to the Frost Guard, my members. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I hope you enjoy the content.